Welcome back into the Cowboys Report, live once again here on Thursday, May 9th. I am Tom Downey, producer Chris, behind the scenes once again for you as we break down everything going on around the Cowboys with rookie minicamp set to get going this weekend for Dallas. And maybe mini camps in air quotes might be a bit more of like orientation, whatever. Pin poll and the top comment, or question I should say, on today's video. Will the Dallas Cowboys make CeeDee Lamb the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL? We'll break down where things sit, some updates from Michael Gelkin of the Dallas Morning News. I am of the belief that if and when, I think still when, you get that deal done, the highest paid receiver in the NFL. And then it'll probably get beat by Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in like a 2-month span, or maybe a year span for Chase. That's fine, by the way. So get your votes in. Y for yes, N for no. By the way, if you're not going to do it, just trade him. Just stupid. You should do it. But otherwise, let's be smart here. Yeses from Donovan Petey, Jacoby Mitchell, Donovan, Cowboy Nation 82. Never look down. All say yes. I don't know from Cam. Madman says he's not getting signed. CJ says no. Joseph says yes. Ecuador Man says yes as well. CJ spamming that no. Appreciate that. Darian Rogers says yes. Danelle Graves, yes. Chris Davis also voting on the yes side there. So is Sack77. William Cook says the Joneses will mess it up. They will mess it up by doing it later than they needed to. Or could have done, I should say. That's how they'll screw it up, like they do with all the big contracts. 78% say yes, by the way, in the pinned poll side of things. 22% say no. So vote in the comments and in that pinned poll section. We will also talk more trade rumors on today's show, since there's a lot of ideas, proposals, targets, theories that kind of come out after the NFL draft wraps up, because I get it. It's kind of got this little weird lull between now and mini camps and OTAs and stuff. So will the Cowboys make a trade before the season? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Remember, they've got projected-wise, and they'll probably get pretty close to the projections. They're normally pretty good about the projections. They're really accurate. Unless someone gets hurt, that's when the projections tend to change. 3 fifth-round comp picks. It's a lot. It's a lot. So will the Cowboys make a trade before the season? 1 for yes, 0 for no. There is a chance that fifth, in particular for Tyron Smith, could rise to a fourth. Would require him to play a lot of the snaps, though, which historically he has not been very good about doing. A lot of yeses on this one. DK under the hook, CJ, Darian, Connor, ones from Cowboy Nation. Cam says they should. Curtis Brown, Donovan Petey typing in their ones. Jay Deals says 0. Joseph says 0+. It's funny. Hank, New York, Iceman, Tucker, Charlie, typing in their ones from that standpoint. They do have 3 open roster spots. And as I promised you, the Jones boys got up there and said, hey, we can make trades. We can do stuff from now until the deadline, as a reason for why they didn't do stuff previously. So if we get to the deadline and they haven't done anything, I will call them out, since big media won't. Zeros from Rodney, Vincent, CJ. Cam Hauser says a half, which I think just means maybe. So I do find that one funny on that front there. We'll talk about Zay Jones too, TKG. And that's a very popular name, since he's one of like 4 players that have been linked to the Cowboys in free agency this entire time. So it was Kendricks and Zeke and A.J. Dillon briefly. That's about it. Yeah, we'll spend some time on that, I promise you there. Help us get to 1,000 followers on our Instagram page. We are at 846 right now. The goal is 154. We will continue to post some short-form content over there. If you're on Instagram, you might as well give us a follow on that side. Trying to expand beyond just the YouTube side of things. And then actually, you know what, 00 Sports, that is a very good point. Jane will challenge them. She does a very good job of that, and I greatly appreciate the fact that she's willing to kind of challenge the initial answer as needed, which is not an easy thing to do. And they're still mad at her, I think, a little bit for correctly reporting on the Mike Nolan stuff. It's a very good point. It's at Cowboys Report IG. We'll put that link in the comments section. It's in the description, by the way, of today's show as well. As promised, we're coming back to Zay Jones. What is the percent chance the Cowboys end up getting the son of the former Cowboys linebacker, Robert Jones, by the way? He is visiting Kansas City. I don't know if that's going to be his last stop, by the way. This is the Zay Jones free agency tour after, he's a career 430-ish yard receiver per season, which it's May. He was really good in 2022. I don't think the fact that he left means that they're gone or that he's gone and not an option at all. I think there's some mutual kicking of the can interest involved for not just the Cowboys, the Chiefs, Cardinals, and maybe the Titans, but I feel like not with Tyler Boyd in town. TKG says it's 69%. It's the right answer there. 0.69 from CJ DeYoung. I see 20%, 20%, 50%, 30%. 30 is probably a pretty good answer because in theory there's a limited chance that Tennessee gets him since they signed Boyd. Arizona, Chiefs, and Dallas for the team. So 30, 30, 30, and then, 10% for Tennessee. Kind of feels about right, actually. I like that answer a lot, Sack 77. 0.69, 65, 47, 100% from Noah and Jacoby. 30.5, 100% minus 31%. Okay. 70, 76, 77, 30% as well. Keep the comments coming. Percent chance you think Dallas ends up landing Zay Jones. From CT, says Tom, what is one trade at any position that you feel can make a significant impact and be a piece that you say we're good at that spot now? Oh, okay. So you mean not like running back. You mean a spot that they're in good shape right now. Or do you mean, never mind. I think I misread that. You mean that after the trade, they're in a good spot. I think running back and defensive tackle really stand out for you. I think we spent a lot of time on different running back trade targets. I still love the idea of Khalil Herbert coming in and being your early down back. And he's not a great pass catcher, not a great pass protector, but he offers you some juice in the running game. He's been really effective with the ball in his hands. You still have roles then for Dowdle, Zeke, and anybody else in there. I think he's a bit more proven than some of the other available trade targets from that perspective. I don't love the wide receiver trade market beyond flyer guys here, so that kind of takes it away. I don't know how many DTs are really going to be on the trade block either. I would look at a guy like Calais Campbell as a free agency target there. But running back, I think DT to an extent as well would be the areas I would monitor of okay. And DT, you'd probably want somebody really good. That becomes a bit unlikely there. But I feel like running back, you can find a 1A and be your lead rotation, even for the short term. All right, how many years have you guys been a Cowboys fan? I will say for life is always a very valid answer. My parents were not Cowboys fans, so I don't know what age I'd have to start it at. I just know that there's the photos of me and a kid sleeping in a Cowboys helmet. Part of my life of sleeping wherever I feel like I can sleep and sleeping on the floor and couches a lot for just because I could. Let's see. For life, lifer from Donovan and Richard and Jay. 45 years from CJ. Melvin's got 16. CJ's got 25. Not Jeremy Chuggs' burner says since conception. Since birth from Chris Davis. Cam, before I was born with my pops, 45, 51, 45, 51s, all kind of in a row there. Brent's got 35. Sack says since 95, almost 30 years now. Man, picked a bad time there. It's probably about what it was for me. 46, 8, 38, since 86, and he was born 87. So again, since conception. For life, 21, 50, 24, 42, and I don't know if I can say what Lone Wolf's answer is, but it's pretty funny. Jeffrey, Tom, what's your opinion on the cornerback room as it stands compared to last year? Do you have your eyes on any quarterbacks in this next year's draft? I think you have to be aware of the quarterback the quarterback side next year because you don't have anybody under contract. You're in kind of a dicey spot from that standpoint. So you have to keep your eyes on guys, and there's a lot of projection involved. It's not a very good class. If the draft happened today, I think Carson Beck would have been the first one taken, and I'm not sure he would have been taken before Bo Nix. Like, it would have been like in that range. He would have been like maybe quarterback 5, maybe QB 6. That's dicey. Now, then again, I thought Penix would slide a bit more, and that's, weird stuff happens, but there's no, even guys people like, I like Shedeur Sanders. He's not a lock first-round pick. He's got to get way better handling pressure and attacking deep downfield. Quinn Ewers has to get better against pressure and learn to throw a competent deep ball. Jalen Miller's got the arm and the mobility. He's got to be able to take the middle of the field stuff and avoid sacks. There's concerns with all those guys. Quarterback room I feel good about. Relative to where it was when the year ended, I don't feel as good because I don't think Carson's as good as Gilmore right now. But if you want to bring back Gilmore, I'm totally down. I don't think you have to at this time. From Reno Wife, these 304s, what's worse, first take or speak? I'm going to go with speak, ever since Hellman left. That's just a lot of... It's just a lot of talking and just being haters just to be haters. Like, I don't care for first take that much either, but it's all messy. Undisputed is also, because I hate Skip. Lone Wolf, or I could say Conception. That also works a little bit better. Duncan Wright, Eagles fan here. Vinolith, groups hating each other. I don't know what he means by that. I feel like he means he comes in peace, though, and that's fine with me. So thank you, Duncan. The goal is a 50% like ratio. We are at 260-ish people watching live right now, and we're not even to 50 likes, which is a little bit disappointing. Because when you come in and watch Cowboys Report, you should always like it. It should be the first thing you do every single video, because it helps get that video going and get more audience, more shows, more subscribers, more views. We can continue to expand the studios. We're building a second one back there behind the wall this summer, or another one, I should say, behind the wall. There's a lot of them these days, expanding the offices. Hit that like button for me if you haven't already done so. Appreciate everyone who did that before today's show even got started. Coming up on today's live edition of the Cowboys Report, some rumors and some news sprinkled in there too. Perfect post-draft free agency trade offseason plan. I'll condense it down to perfect offseason plan, which is after the draft, of course. What I would do, we will slander somebody in that segment. A mailbag, 2 ways to get on the show. Use hashtag Cowboys or Super Chat to skip that line. And a bunch of different Cowboys trade rumors, ideas, theories. I'll say some of them I like, some of them I do not. All that coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. A bunch of new subscribers here from the NFL Draft. Thank you all so much for that. Don't miss a thing, though. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have your notifications turned on. Only about 17.7% of you have notifications set to all, meaning you will miss videos from us here at the Cowboys Report. So go into your settings, back where you first subscribed, click that bell, change it from personalized to all, so you get those 1 to 2 to 3 notifications a day every time there's a new Cowboys Report vid. Let's check in on the latest for CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gelkin reporting a Lamb extension should still happen. And, of course, it's going to be pretty expensive, which we mostly knew, but here's what Gelkin reports. It still appears a matter of when, not if, a Lamb long-term extension with Dallas is completed. Last month's deals for Brown and St. Brown, meaning AJ and Amon-Ra, did not raise the price tag. To argue otherwise would be to assume Lamb would have accepted a contract below $30 million in annual new money worth, which overlooks the steep jump in the league's 2024 salary cap and the fact that Lamb's coming off a franchise record 135 catches, 1,749 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Now, I fully agree. I think the minimum he was going to get was around $30 million. I mean, we did our projections of like the minimum floor before Amon-Ra St. Brown and A.J. Brown got dealt. And it was almost a 1-to-1 deal for what Amon-Ra St. Brown got, by the way. It was almost the exact same contract. I do think, though, that those deals probably did raise the floor a little bit. And remember, A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb share the same agent. There's no universe in the multiverses of universe that may or may not exist in which the CeeDee Lamb agent is going to say, yes, I will take less than my last client got, even though this other one is younger and has been more productive and frankly better. So your floor is the $32 million per year deal that A.J. Brown got. By the way, that was a shorter term deal. And in general, the longer you go on a deal, the more you have to pay. Now, I will make note, Amon-Ra St. Brown is really 30.005 compared to Tyreek Hill's kind of fake $30 million a year deal. That final year was grossly inflated with no guaranteed money as part of it. Teams knew that. Someone was going to get a real $30 million price tag, and the floor is now $32 million. Like, that's what you have to beat. So could you have gotten a deal done for CeeDee Lamb for $31 million back in February? Maybe. Now, maybe sharing the same agent, knowing A.J. Brown was about to get paid, and you would argue that Lamb is better than Brown, so you want the less guy to get paid first. Maybe the timing wouldn't have worked out there. But the Cowboys have publicly said they wanted the leaves to fall. They wanted to see how it played out, and then two receivers immediately got paid more. Now, if you can get this deal done next, I think that's still an okay outcome for Dallas. But the longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes. So will Dallas make CeeDee Lamb the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. You should know what that means. Ad might play on YouTube. It's fine. Don't worry about the ad. Instead, go vote the pinned comment Y or N. I do think this deal gets done. And I've never really been that worried that a deal wasn't going to get done. I have confidence in the Cowboys getting pen to paper well before week one. My issue has always been it's about the time it takes to get a deal done and it costing more. We haven't seen many receivers get paid after year 3, so that's fine. But you could have gotten this deal done before free agency and freed up a significant amount of salary cap space to actually do something in the free agency market. And the Cowboys weren't even trying to meet with Lamb's agent at the Combine. They didn't even try to. Other receivers are due for new deals. Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase might be next year, by the way. Brandon Ayuk, we'll see exactly what his number comes in at. CeeDee Lamb. We are now at the point where it is no longer about just being the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. There's one player who makes more than A.J. Brown on a per-year basis. That is Nick Bosa at $34 million. Now, if you're the Cowboys, you know Justin Jefferson wants to beat that number. He might be asking for $36, $35 million per year. You want to get that deal done before Jefferson, because the best case is still settling for we ended up getting the deal done, and he took $500,000 less, but if we'd done it previously, could have saved still a little bit more. I want to get that deal done as soon as possible, because I know for a fact whatever Lamb makes, Jefferson will beat. So set the market, and then no longer be the highest paid receiver in football, like a week later, a month later, whatever. Now, today's show was made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Unlike the Cowboys contract talks, this stuff is simple and easy to do. You pick more or pick less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Then you watch those winnings roll in. Now, you can do NBA, you can do MLB, season-long NFL stuff, and they're giving you a free square, by the way, for any of your Prize Pick selections between now and WNBA opening games, because it's a half point for Caitlin Clark. It's a freebie. So here's what my NBA Prize Pick slate is for upcoming slate of games here. I've got the Caitlin Clark freebie. More than Anthony Edwards, 28.5 points. Ant's been playing incredible. And more than Jason Tatum, 10 rebounds, 4 out of 5 for Edwards, or 5 in a row for Edwards, and 4 out of 5 for Tatum, I believe, on those numbers, or maybe 4 out of 5 for both. It's just easy. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. How about cutting or trading Marquis Bell? That was the pitch from Bleacher Report. I have thoughts on this one. They're like, Dan Quinn's gone. He's a dime linebacker. They have safety depth, which we'll actually come back to in a little bit here, by the way, which I find the complete differences of opinion between Bleacher Report and what ESPN claimed. To be blunt, hate this idea. Hate it. I am a big fan of Marquise Bell. I thought he played really well, out of position, frankly, for the Cowboys last year. I'm closer to saying he should start at safety over somebody else, like a Donovan Wilson, than it should be to him not playing or being cut. So let's do a version of the F. Kill Mary game. What would you do with Marquise Bell? S for you'd start him, B for you'd bench him, D for you'd dump him. Sound off in the comments right now. Look, Bell was not a great run stopper at linebacker, but he was really good in coverage, and he's not a linebacker. He subbed in there. He can be your dime linebacker still. He's a strong safety by trade. I thought he was outplaying Damone Clark, lowish bar, I guess, last season. The Cowboys, I think, are in great shape at safety. You have Malik Hooker, you have Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, and Wanye Thomas, and Israel Mukuamu. And Sheldrick Redwine has played snaps for you, which is why I was blown away. ESPN's, it was a Football Outsiders kind of crossover. Aaron Schatz, like, what's the biggest need for us? They're like, running back's too easy. It's actually third safety. And I'm like, what? And they're like, they lost Jaron Kearse. That Wanye Thomas has not played much. Israel Mukuamu has not played much. And they didn't mention Marquise Bell. Just like didn't mention him. Do they think he's still a linebacker? Do they not know ball? Did they forget about him? I will not stand for the Marquise Bell disrespect. At minimum, I want him in that Jaron Kearse role. I want him as that nickel dime linebacker, the tight end eraser guy. That he is your third safety, if not higher than that. So I did not understand that whatsoever. Now we are into the Cowboys' preferred offseason range where they show interest in guys because they can win the deal. Roster moves can and will happen. Hit that sub button at youtube.com/@CowboysTV for daily videos every single day. Let's check in on the Zay Jones status. Finished his visit with Dallas and then has one today, Thursday, with the Chiefs. So that's 4 visits as we've got a Zay Jones free agency tour. What a time to be alive. The Cardinals, the Titans, the Cowboys, and of course, most recently, the Chiefs. Now, Tennessee might not be in the market since they did sign Tyler Boyd after that visit with Jones. I think they're going, well, why is he taking all these visits? A couple of reasons, I think. Number one, he's looking for his best fit. The kicking the tires from the Cardinals, the Cowboys, Chiefs perspectives is just as much about the team's view as the player's view. They also want to know that when you get cut, that sucks. You're finding it's going to be a 1-year deal. You're trying to find a nice destination that can set you up for success short-term and long-term. And by the way, I do suspect that teams wanted to look at the medical for Zay Jones. He had a knee and an ankle injury last year, said he was never quite right, showed in his play. They want to make sure that's all taken care of. I do want to dispute one thing I have seen claimed by several out there. The Cowboys did not cut Martavis Bryant thinking they were about to sign Jones and then lost Zay Jones. The timing was unique and unusual, but it was more coincidence than correlation. I think they had made the decision that Martavis Bryant wasn't going to work out. We'll try to do right by him, find a new destination. Teams don't cut a player when they have 2 open roster spots before they sign a different player. That no NFL team operates that way. If it's a 1-to-1 swap, they could still very well sign Zay Jones, but the Martavis Bryant release was, coincidence timing, but it was independent. And you guys know I have not been one to defend the Cowboys this offseason. So percent chance the Cowboys sign Zay Jones. Go ahead and sound off in the comments. Some people got mad at me on Twitter because when the Denver Broncos cut former Cowboys quarterback Ben DiNucci, I made the comment, got to bring him home. Bring back Nucci Maine, Gucci DiNucci. I wasn't actually serious about that, but that is our meme god, Ben DiNucci, and he makes the great hats, so we'll always kind of joke around and stand for him. The reason why it doesn't make much sense is you're going to give all of the reps to Trey Lance. Like, you're right, you don't have a fourth quarterback. You're giving Lance the 3, the 4, and some of the D2 reps. So, yes, you actually could make an argument that maybe you want a fourth quarterback on the roster, and DiNucci, with his knowledge of the offense, does make some sense. But the snaps just aren't available at this time. So before we go on this version of, or part of today's show, I should say, what is your favorite Ben DiNucci nickname? Is it the Nooch, Nucci Gucci, Nucci Maine? Sound off for me, or Gucci Nucci, excuse me, in the comments right now. There was a very fun player to not actually have to have out there, just doing sidearm throws everywhere. He was actually good in the XFL or whatever it was. I see the Nooch, Gucci, DiNucci is a good one. I always liked the Nooch. We made, I forget what it was. We had made hats or something, or T-shirts of we're gonna sell these when he scores a touchdown against the Eagles, and it didn't go very well. Baba Banucci is a funny one. I did bring back Eagles game flashbacks. It's funny now. It wasn't funny in the moment. He was out there playing backyard football. I still think that might have been the best game Kellen Moore's ever called in his life. They actually kind of moved the ball with a quarterback who was just not ready. I remember that was, he didn't have any time to learn the offense. There was a weird offseason stuff. It was unique. That might have been the best game Kellen Moore called. It was kind of close. There was a point that it's Ben DiNucci's outplaying Carson Wentz. I think that was Wentz back then. It was a wild game. They had no business hanging around there. Duncan Wright, what I feel about Caitlin Clark, my girl. We all love Caitlin Clark. Don't be weird about it though. Don't be who was the Indianapolis Star columnist? Greg Doyle, right? Don't be a Doyle. Be normal. Richard Wilson, what position should be addressed with the first remaining free agents? Who told the Joneses that not calling players is a smart negotiation tactic? Who told them that? They came up with it themselves because they've realized when they call the agent first, they don't have the position of power. So, honestly, I would look at defensive tackle first. I think you're really thin there. It's Osa, Golston, Mazi, 7th round pick Justin Rogers, and a UDFA that has 0 career sacks in college. It's not, at least in Illinois. It's a thin group. CJ's changing his answer on the CeeDee Lamb conversation to yes from that perspective, which I agree. CT, scenario, not wishing harm, but say Dak goes down, then walks in 25, trade doesn't pan out. What then do you do at quarterback while picking at number 24? Tank a year? This is actually my issue. This is how you end up getting stuck with, well, let's try Drew Henson and Drew Bledsoe and Vinny Testaverde and Quincy Carter and Clint Stoner, and let's bring in Ryan Leaf off the streets. That's my concern. That you're not drafting high enough to get the premier quarterback prospect, or Kenny Pickett in the more recent version. How about that for you guys? And you're not, bad enough to be in that range, and you're not good enough to have the quarterback and then to make real playoff runs. That's my concern. So in that scenario, I don't know, does Tua walk? Are you trading for Aiden O'Connell for a 5th? You're trying insert random stopgap here. You're going to bring in Geno Smith, and then you're kind of just biding your time until you have that early. You would almost rather just play somebody crappy. You might give Lance a second shot and see if that pans out. That's my concern. Duncan, I'll be honest. I don't. Caitlin Clark, something. It's not. I feel like this is something bad. I honestly don't know. So again, don't be a Doyle. CJ DeYoung, which maybe he's not, but clarify. Cowboys never win the deal. They don't. They always want to win the deal, and agents know they will eventually cave. You know, there is something to be said about the reputation that you have of how you negotiate with agents. You know, and this is true for not just NFL stuff, but in general. And when every agent knows they're going to lowball us to start, they will eventually come around late in the process, why would they take you seriously early on? Like, I think to an extent, the Cowboys have to change their reputation. And that probably means being a little aggressive with these deals, the right ones. And be like, we will set the market. Like, let's do that now. Let's be proactive with our best players, not proactive with our, B+ range players. Jeffrey, curious as to why Jerry sticks to the we like our guys mentality. We've always been a trade away from a Super Bowl, and he just won't do it. You know what's annoying is there's been like 4 or 5 different years you've been like a play away from making it to the next round and continuing your run. It's Steven. Steven doesn't want to be aggressive. This team craves flexibility. Like they would rather be a 10-win team every year for the next 10 years and have, the playoff success that they've had and like see if it changes, see if they want to be around the rim, to stick with Steven's analogy, right? That is where they want to be. They would rather be around the rim than already dunking it down and trying to figure out the future. They don't ever want to be bad. And they're trending towards being forced to being bad, and I don't trust them to get themselves out of that. Troy Gonzalez, what up, Tom? Been a Cowboy fan for 30 years. What happens to Wanye Thomas? Really liked him early on last year. Excited for the O-line and Kalen Carson. Good thoughts there. First off, thank you, Jordan, for the big-time super chat. I want to see if Wanye Thomas can be better than safety 4. I think he'll be a core special teamer for you. He's got, I think, a bunch of versatility. He could end up being a Mike Zimmer favorite. I think he's a pretty high football IQ player. I am excited to see him play this upcoming offseason, or this upcoming preseason. Lone Wolf, by don't be weird, you mean no Drizzy, right? From no Diddy to no Drizzy. I'm like a 2 weeks fan. There you go. TJ Young, who's Caitlin Clark? Seriously. That is the former Iowa women's basketball player, now turned Indiana Fever WNBA player, who's like the Steph Curry of the WNBA. All she does is get buckets. Massive Matt, even the Knicks have a glimmer of hope before Dallas does. Cowboys or Pistons next up. The Pistons are bad. Frankly, the Cowboys comparison, as my good buddy Chase Sr. always says, the Cowboys and the 76ers are the same team. They are the exact same team. They're a good regular season team. They'll win a playoff round, and then it all falls apart in sometimes hilariously painful fashion if you're not a Sixers or Cowboys fan. It's the Spider-Man meme. Same team. Same team. Again, folks, if you haven't already, please hit us up on Instagram at Cowboys Report IG. We've got you covered there with some short-form content. Hit that follow button if you're on IG at Cowboys Report Instagram. Trying out a different segment on today's show. It's the perfect off-season plan, but after the NFL draft. So it's trades, free agency, roster moves, everything put together to help the Cowboys in 2024 and then beyond. Disclaimer off the top, I'm just not even doing Dak stuff. I am tired. I don't want to have more conversations, more fights. Just for the Dak, pretend I did whatever you want to do. So just pretend it's that. Whether it's you paid him, you didn't pay him, you let him do the walk here, you got what? Just pretend it's that, with the goal of still being to win games this year with that in mind. So let's begin with step number 1, which was step number 3 before the offseason even began. It was pay CeeDee Lamb, damn it. Really not many good reasons why you haven't done this already. You cost yourselves a chance to pay guys in the offseason. Could have saved $10 to $13 million, depending on how you structured it, with a CeeDee Lamb extension. The Cowboys went, no, we want to see some leaves fall. The longer you wait for a CeeDee Lamb deal to get done, he is a top 5 receiver in football. He will be, if not the highest paid non-quarterback, he will be among the highest paid non-quarterbacks. And if you do it sooner, Then when Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson get paid, all of a sudden, maybe he's top 3. So you should want to get that deal done with CeeDee Lamb as soon as humanly possible because it will benefit your team, short-term and long-term, and benefit your books. That is a deal that if you don't have that done before training camp and there's a holdout, I'm going to be pissed. Because that means it's on you, the team. None of this ridiculous, well, Lamb's holding out because he doesn't want to get paid stuff. No, this is on the Cowboys. So do you want to pay CeeDee Lamb? I think every single person should feel this way. So we'll give every person a chance to like today's video. Ad might play here on YouTube. That's fine. Take advantage. Go like the video if you want the Cowboys to pay CeeDee Lamb. I want to see 1,000+ likes on today's show. Now, I've got 3 open roster spots. I'll fill those and not worry about cutting other players because the Cowboys like their guys. Step 2, I'm going to sign Calais Campbell. I think he's the best defensive tackle available in free agency, and he offers me still some pass rush juice. Now, he's not the premier pass rush, double-digit sack guy he was at his prime. He can still play ball, and he can do defensive end and defensive tackle stuff. Something that I think this team could use some flexibility. He's older, I know, but I don't think he's going to be a liability in terms of the run stopping or the pass rush. I know he is older. I acknowledge that. I do think this makes more sense, though, to have him as an option, as we move forward for the Cowboys and give them a better body on the interior of this particular group. I think that is an idea this Cowboys team needs to consider. The money might be an issue, but it'd help you. Step number 3, I'm going to trade for a running back. And I don't like the free agency market, so I'm going to let that slide. I'm going to find a team that has an option that can help me out in the short term and the long term. Because right now, I still maintain this is the worst running back room in the NFL. Now, if I had to have a position group that was the worst room in the NFL, running back would be near the top of that list beyond like Hunter or something, which barely counts. But I still want to get better than where I am today. And 3 of these guys will make the team, whatever. I don't think you have enough juice. I think you need to find some juice. Some early down, big playability, better just general production on early downs on handoffs. So name a running back that you want to trade for. I'll get to some names here momentarily, but drop that player name for me in the comments section. Now, we went through these 10 names on a previous video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Dameon Pierce, Khalil Herbert, Miles Sanders, Tyler Algier, Jeff Wilson, Israel Abanikanda, who's got the juice, Michael Carter, Elijah Mitchell, Justice Hill, Pierre Strong. I don't think any of those guys would cost you anything more than maybe a 4th-round pick at most. Might be more of a 5th-round pick even. So my trade idea is give me Khalil Herbert. Give me the Bears running back who is now RB3, stuck behind paid DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, who when he has played has been highly effective as a runner. So I would have a lot of interest in Herbert, and he does offer some explosive plays, and he does offer efficiency, the things that I crave in my early down backs. Not a great 3rd down option. I have guys that can do that. Now, if you want the Cowboys rookie jersey, there's a good theory to me that the offensive line was bad, which I think it was, and the scheme was bad, which it might not change, and that led to downturn in the backfield results. I agree with that. Hopefully your new rookie helps that out. Tyler Guyton, the left tackle. Go to chatsports.com/Guyton to get the Cowboys rookie jersey for the Oklahoma product. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Step 4, I am going to look to add a wide receiver. I just want something else, whether it is another lottery ticket or a more proven vet in case. I feel great about Lamb as wide receiver 1. Fine with Cooks as wide receiver 2. You're not paying him that much. He's speedy. He complements your team well. Jalen Tolbert, make no mistake, this team wants Tolbert to be the wide receiver 3. There's no guarantee that ends up working out. Turpin might be a return gadget guy. Everyone else, Brooks, Flournoy, Durden, Cropper, those are all UDFAs or late-round picks. Yeah, I'd like to either take another gamble on somebody see if the upside hits, or have a veteran in place. Some free agent names to monitor as of filming. Obviously, Zay Jones taking visits here. Corey Davis. I think Michael Thomas is cooked, by the way. I'm not that interested by him. Hunter Renfrow can do some slot stuff for you. Mecole Hardman does an MVS offer speed, but they're not some of the most reliable, consistent players. Wouldn't mind a trade option. And I think most of these guys would cost you a day 3 pick at best, maybe even a late day 3 pick. We've spent time on Treylon Burks as a guy they liked coming out of the draft. They liked him a lot, and top 25 grade on him. That has not worked out very well in Tennessee. I like Tyler Scott a lot for Chicago. He's now kind of buried as receiver 4 at best with the Bears. I'd call him. I think they'd probably move somebody else, but at least try. He brings you speed that you need. Danny Gray brings you speed, and he's in a numbers game in San Francisco. John Mechie could be a slot buy low option. I like Sky Moore a lot coming out, but hey, here's the thing. If you can't work with Mahomes, do you trust it to work somewhere else? That's kind of my concern there. Tyquan Thornton's fast, but also been pretty bad in New England. We've got you covered all the latest and greatest Cowboys news and rumors, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Step number 5, we're going to make Mazi fat again. You thought I forgot about it. I have not. The Cowboys have leaked, confirmed, reported, whatever. That is their plan. They are going to try to add some more weight to Mazi, get him back up to being an actual nose guard, a run stopper, doing the things that he is more comfortable with from his time at Michigan. This is the right way to go about it. So we're bringing back another one of our campaigns and then launching another one here in a moment. Make Mazi fat again. Spam MMFA in the comments section if you want to make Mazi Smith fat again and help stop the run offenses the Cowboys face this season. Step number 6, trade and offensive tackle, It's a numbers game, right? This is what the Cowboys want their starting 5 to be again, barring injuries or players not developing properly, whatever. Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Martin, Steele. That is what they want. I think Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass are good backups, and I want Bass as maybe my right guard as soon as next year, by the way. I want those guys. So there's 7. That means there's up to 3 roster spots here for Nathan Thomas, Awesome Richards, Matt Waletzko, Chuma Adoga, and Josh Ball. Can't keep all 5 guys. Maybe one of them ends up having some trade value there. So here's what we're launching today. It's Operation White Lie. We need, as a fan base, to hype the heck out of players like Josh Ball, who, to be clear, is not a good football player, nor a good person, and trick a team into trading for him. So after today's video, we will be standing all of these backup offensive linemen, saying they're great, and trying to convince and trick a team into trading for him. Even if it's just a 7th-round pick, or maybe a team trades a running back for one of them, or a receiver, or a defensive lineman. That is Operation White Lie. As a bonus, let's feed Rowdy to the hogs. The mascot is a curse upon our lands. He poisoned our crops and everything else in between. Not only that, he is the reason DeMarvion Overshown doesn't get to wear 0, because Jerry says 0 is for Rowdy. I hate it. Let's feed him to the hogs. So grade my post-NFL draft plan for the Cowboys. A, B, C, D, or F in the comments section. We'll give some shout-outs here as well. Again, you may be great on a curve here if you need to, because, it's May. It's not like... Honestly, I think paying Lamb alone might be able to do something there. King G says, I'll super chat you $1 million if we get anything for Josh Ball. I'll hold you to it, King. Venmo also works. I don't know if you can super chat $1 million. You're actually capped at 500. Operation White Lie now has monetary incentives to get there. A, B, C, D, or F. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Lone Wolf. So Kendrick won, right? Can we all agree on that? Not everyone will agree, but yes, Kendrick absolutely won. That last diss track by Drake was a white flag of, no, I'm not. That's kind of like all he did. Was wrong. Misread Drake's Mother I lyrics, which is kind of hilarious. So be it. We don't wipe these 304s. I'm a Cowboys, Sixers, and Kentucky basketball fan. Pain. That sucks, buddy. That's been you're good. You get to the playoffs, and it's dicey. For all those teams there. Very, very dicey. A couple other super chats here from Ecuador Man and Blazin' Daily. We will get to those in a little bit here on today's show as part of our mailbag. There are two ways to get on the show. Super chat like those guys did, or use hashtag Cowboys to get on the show. Hashtag Cowboys or super chat. Super chats are guaranteed. Hashtag Cowboys puts you at the mercy of producer Chris, picking your question. Now, if we did not or do not get to your questions on the mailbag or previous live shows, I do have my DMs open so you can hit me up there as well. At WhatGoingDowney. Next goal is 22,000 followers. Do it for Emmitt Smith, by the way. From Ecuador Man AOG, Deuce Vaughn has no role. Why won't the team cut him? I would. Well, they might cut him. There's no guarantee Deuce Vaughn makes this roster right now. They have open roster spots. They don't need anything. He's also better than Nathaniel Pete is. I think the potential role from Deuce Vaughn could still come as your kind of third down, not short yardage, slightly more juiced up back. He doesn't have elite juice, though. That's the issue. I am also very curious how he gets deployed on special teams because the kickoff rules have changed. You might need two guys back there with the new rules. Turpin's one of them. Who's the second? Maybe it could end up being Deuce Vaughn. From Blazin' Daily, Josh Ball has no trade value. Could we trade offensive line for a running back? First off, remember, Operation White Lie is to convince a team to trade for Josh Ball. So to be clear, Josh Ball was like your fourth best offensive lineman. He's a marvelous human being as well. A team would be lucky if the Dallas Cowboys found a way, to go out and give up Josh Ball for something. So that's Operation White Lie, just so we're clear. As for the rest of that, trading for a running back, maybe. You did draft Matt Waletzko. You did draft Austin Richards. Offensive line play is a significantly valued spot in the NFL because there just aren't very many good ones. So if you can find one, that does start to make sense as a potential option for a team. Now, maybe you don't get a good running back. Maybe you got to attach a pick too, but I think that could be worth considering. From Carter, do you worry at all about Micah / should Dallas consider trading him? Wonder if this is producer Brett's burner account. He wants to trade Micah, by the way. With Micah, there's like 4 guys in NFL history who have had the starts to their NFL career that he has had. The other options are they're all Hall of Famers or they had massive off-the-field stuff like Alden Smith. Micah doesn't have that massive off-the-field stuff. Is it fair to say he's got to mature in general? Sure, absolutely. I would love to see him be more of a leader and a culture setter than I think he's been so far. He's also very young. You have to kind of grow into that role, I think, a little bit. But he's also a very talented football player. I will say this part, too. This maybe isn't fair, but we know this will be the reaction to it. If Micah struggles, has a bad game or whatever, or starts slow or the Cowboys lose again, it's going to be, well, why was he in Japan fighting sumo wrestlers? Why is he doing the podcast? There are times I wish Micah Parsons would log off. I think it is better for most NFL players just not be on there because they see it and they hear it and it can get under their skin sometimes. And in Dallas, it's always louder. So I'm not worried about him. I do get some of the general concerns, but he's also like a top 2 defensive player of the year candidate every year. Guys are hard to find. So where would you rank Micah Parsons among NFL defenders? Is he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Where does he rank? Sound off for me in the comments right now. From Blazin' Daily, any chance that no name quarterback makes the team? So I would assume you're referring to the rookie minicamp guy that they picked up, and not like Rush or Lance or anything, which was Honesty, however you pronounce the last name. I think pretty low. This is a rookie minicamp invite because quite literally, they needed to have somebody in the building to throw passes when they're doing drills and stuff. So I think very, very low. There's a spot. Maybe he looks great, whatever. His dad had a brief stint in the NFL. I'd be pretty darn shocked if he made the Cowboys team, especially the 53-man roster, outside slim chance to even just the 90, because they want to give those reps to Trey Lance. From Nick, why are people calling you Toxic Tom? Well, there is Toxic Tom Downey burner account, which had been spun up when Randy Gregory called the Cowboys fan base toxic, and that was part of the whole stint from that standpoint. I have been fairly negative this offseason. I also know that many of you guys feel the same way. I'm not I wouldn't say that I'm toxic about players, which I think is the real concern when you don't want to have that stuff. I have been very toxic towards the Jones boys, though, and I would say I'm justified. But then again, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel justified. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy there. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks is pick more, picks less. That's easy. It's all you have to do. Play your staff projections, 2 to 6 of them. Sometimes they'll give you the Demons and the Goblins. The Demons are the harder to hit projections. Got to get it's boosted, but it'll give you a higher payout. Goblins are easier to hit. It's a lower payout. And sometimes they'll give you the free square. You got this available till Tuesday. Caitlin Clark, 0.5 point in their WNBA debut. It's a no-brainer. She might get that on the first possession. In fact, you probably get probably 50% chance he gets it on our first possession, right? They dial up a 3-4 or something crazy. So do that. And you can also pair with an NBA playoff game or WNBA game or NHL, whatever. They also have season-long NFL prize picks. Passing yards. For both Dak and Patrick Mahomes, I've got the more than. I'm doing the flex on this, by the way, so I can get one wrong and still win. Sacks, more than 12.75 for Micah. More than 9.5 for CeeDee Lamb. It kind of already builds in that injury risk, so they stay healthy, they're going to hit it. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That link's in the comments section and the description of today's show. From Massive Matt says, someone make Meet the Joneses and diss them into trying. Could you imagine? I don't know. I have zero flow, so I'm not the one to do that. Do not go to that next question. Do not go to that next question. That is not. We're not doing that one. That is dirty beyond belief. I can see it in the preview there. It'd be great. I'm sure there's at least one Cowboys content creator that's got good flow and they could find a way to do it. It's not me. DK under the hook. I bet you if we sign Calais Campbell, he'd beat out Mazi. Change my mind. I don't know if you would want Calais Campbell playing the Mazi Smith role, but from a rotation snap count perspective, I think he's better right now than Mazi Smith. So, not at nose guard, but you're not playing Osa 100% of your snaps. You don't want Mazi out there every third down. He'd probably be like DT2, even if he wasn't even the starter, so to speak. From Brandon, could flipping Luke Schoonmaker for a running back help make sense? I don't hate it. If you could get the right back, I'd probably have interest there. I don't know who that right back would be, by the way. Most teams are in pretty good shape at tight end. Schoonmaker was a mistake pick. With the way that Jake Ferguson came along, it was a mistake. As soon as we realized Jake Ferguson is him and he's going to be he's the second best playmaker on this offense, the value for Schoonmaker is now best case tight end 2. You can't spend a second pick on a tight end 2. So, you can get a blocker from in Brevin Spanford. You can have a pass catcher in Hendershot and or John Stevens if he's healthy. Like, I would consider it, which I hate flipping a second pick after a year, but he's hurt again too, by the way. So are you out on Luke Schoonmaker? This should bring some good questions. Are you out on the former second-round pick at tight end? Y for yes, N for no. CT, Tom, what is one trade at any position you feel can make a significant impact and be a piece that you'd say we're good at that spot now? I'd be calling about running backs. I think it's your weakest point on your roster. I thought it was that way going in the draft. Felt that it's still that way right now. You got to get some help there. I can go back to our initial team needs list. It was like one or two. I'd call for running backs. I'd call about Khalil Herbert. I kind of am a bit down most on Dameon Pierce. I don't think James Conner's available, but I'd call. He fixes your running back room immediately. $5 per chat from Jeffrey. I forget if it's Bryson or Breeson. I'm going to go with Breeson here. Tom, what's your opinion on the cornerback room as it stands compared to this last season? Do you have your eyes on any quarterbacks in this next year's draft? So, quarterback answer first. It's in good shape. I would be down to bring back Gilmore. I think because you've got Diggs back and healthy, and Bland, and Lewis, and I do like Kalen Carson, I think you're fine right now. You can make it better by adding Gilmore if he wants to come back. Great. Quarterback-wise, you have to. You have 0 guys under contract next year. You have to keep your eyes out on them. That's the problem. The early returns on this class, entire year of football to go, it will change positively and negatively for some guys too, frankly, it's not a great class. This could be that Kenny Pickett first round, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis third round, Sam Howell fifth round class where none of them are starters. Like that's the downside with this class. And if you're picking let's say 23 again, 24 again, how are you going to get the good one without making a massive trade up? That's my concern long term when it comes to the quarterback room. Now, if you guys enjoy our mailbags here on the Cowboys Report, thank you. Subscribe so you can tune in. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. From Tyler, with Martin retiring soon and Steele being inconsistent, how would you replace them? Would you start Bass and Maletzko, or would you trade/draft? Is there a good right guard, right tackle in next year's class? There will be good offensive linemen. We'll see if one gets to you in round 1, but you've also invested 2 first-round picks on the offensive line. You don't always want to invest a third and draft one, but you should still do it if the right guy's there. TJ Bass stands out to me as a right guard option. I'd give him first crack. And I'm going to give Terrence Steele a year. See how it goes. Give him a year. Allow him to play. And hopefully another year removed from the injury, he'll look more like the guy we saw before he got hurt. And if that guy's back, great. There's your right tackle. Otherwise, they can cut him. And they can look towards trying out a young guy, drafting somebody else, and that becomes a very much open competition spot. Donovan, Marshawn Lattimore trade if the Saints deal him. So initially I thought the Saints wouldn't trade Marshawn Lattimore when they restructured his deal. Great piece on Over the Cap actually laid out a little bit recently that they structured that deal different than it's normally done. And it wouldn't actually be the Saints paying a bunch of that money. It'd be the new team. So the Saints actually can trade him after June 1st now. In a way that I actually didn't realize they had done that. It's kind of what the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers, by the way. So I was actually wrong on that earlier. My apologies. So he could be traded way more than I thought he could previously because there would be little savings beyond that. But they might keep him anyway. And the Cowboys aren't going to pay another corner. They're paying Diggs and going to pay Lance in. So, name a player who you want to trade for. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section right now. Now, how many years have you been a Cowboys fan? I also see Crispy asking about Alvin Kamara. He's cooked. I'm out. I warned you guys last year. Dalvin Cook's not good anymore. Dalvin Cook was bad this past year. I'm warning you guys now about Alvin Kamara. Decline is set in. I'm not interested with that. I think he's going to have one more year in the Saints. He's going to get cut. He can still be on third downs, but it's I don't want to trade for I don't want to add more declining players to the roster. By the way, for life, a very valid answer on this particular question because it's how at least some of us are. And frankly, a lot of us are. Dennis Bryant says, fan since 1976. Thank you, Dennis. It's awesome to see. And it might be one of the longer ones. I see 50 from Donald Street. So a lot of lifers there. I love it. We are also available on Instagram. Now, I'm not going to talk about whatever a Finsta is because I'm not smart enough to know what that is. I actually do know what it is, but I know, but it's funnier if I sound like a boomer and don't say it's a fake Instagram. Follow us from your real Instagram and your Finsta. At Cowboys Report IG, 846 is our current number. The goal was 1,000. Help us get there as soon as possible. We will continue to put more short-form content available on that platform. Before we get into today's show, a lot of trade rumors out there on Dallas. I want to see your predictions. Will the Cowboys make a trade before the season begins? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Where else but in today's video? Couple different trade targets, and we'll start here, that were mentioned by Blogging the Boys. Siaka Ika, we'll come back to. Treylon Burks, we spent a lot of time on in recent days. It's available on the channel. I'm not going to rehash it. It does make some sense. 2 Panthers players, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Mingo, plus other players from other outlets we'll get to here in a little bit. I want to begin with Siaka Ika. And I get the mindset of, the Browns, they went out and they added some defensive linemen. They added Michael Hall. They spent a late-round pick on Jawan Briggs out of Cincinnati. And they have Dalvin Tomlinson, etc. So I do get the, add a defensive tackle from Cleveland. I think they picked the wrong one. Their nose guards are Dalvin Tomlinson and kind of it. Siaka Ika was a 3rd-round pick. You saw the stats. He barely played. It wasn't even good when he played. But they kind of need him at nose guard. In many ways, it was the late day 2 version of Mazi Smith this year. Just wasn't good enough. They're not going to bail on him after a year. And the guys they mentioned, Briggs and Hall especially is not a nose guard. So, got to differentiate between your DTs there. So, fun name. Not going to get my hopes up, though. A name that I do think you could get from Carolina right now, that is Miles Sanders. Remember, Carolina not only drafted Jonathan Brooks in round 2, preventing Dallas from taking him, they signed Rashad Penny. Chuba Hubbard outplayed Sanders last year. Raheem Blackshear probably makes this team as a kick returner. And they've got guys like Mike Boone, UDFA Jaden Shirt, I think I pronounced it correctly. Maybe Tariq Cohen does something too. Miles Sanders' time in Carolina has got 1 year at most. He's due $4.22 million this year. There was a $2 million bonus, I believe, was already paid. Dallas won't do that. They won't pay $4.22 million for a year of Miles Sanders. Now, if Carolina wants to eat that contract, or if they post June 1st cut him, there aren't nearly as many actual after June 1st player gets cut these days. Sanders could be one, because Carolina, I'm pretty sure, and I believe they did, they maximized their post-June 1st cut option, so they literally can't do any more. Sanders was terrible in Carolina. He was literally one of the worst backs in football. But he was awesome in Philadelphia. So I would be willing, especially if he gets cut, bring him in. Give him a shot. Because he's got speed. He's got big playability. He's got juice. He has the things that you don't really have on the roster right now. So do you want to get Miles Sanders? Some options. T for you want to trade for him. S for you'd add him only if he gets cut and you want to sign him. P for you would rather pass altogether. It is the pinned comment on today's video. If that ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Jonathan Mingo is next up here. This was, he was also bad year 1 in Carolina. To an extent, that coaching staff was so bad. It was the definition of we hired all these guys who have, head coaching and OC aspirations, and the end result was there were too many cooks in the kitchen, too many different ideas, and it was just kind of a muddled mess. Mingo was a massive disappointment. One of the funniest plays last season was Bryce Young's rolling right. He looks for Mingo, throws it to him, and Mingo jumps up in the air and contorts his body to land out of bounds on purpose. Like he just like jumps. It's like he was playing the floor is lava. Instead of trying to do it was the opposite of get your feet in bounds. It was get your feet out of bounds. It was wild. I was not that high on Jonathan Mingo. I had him barely inside my top 100. He went top 40, and it was a mess last year. Carolina is maybe open to doing it, but they'd probably ask for a third or a fourth round pick, and I didn't even think he was barely worth that for me coming out, let alone a year later after a bad season. Now, we have you covered with all the latest and greatest on the Cowboys, whether that's news, rumors, free agency, trades like it is today. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/CowboysTV. We've got some more running back trade ideas. Shocker, right? Pro Football Network suggested the Cowboys make a trade for Cardinals running back James Conner. I've got a lot of thoughts on this one, but first the trade idea from PFN. The Cowboys get Conner, and the Cardinals get just a future sixth-round pick, 2025 sixth-rounder. Let's assume it's the best one, so it's picking the early 200s, whatever it is. I have thoughts on that. But pick a running back to trade for. JC for James Conner, MS for Miles Sanders. Do remember, of course, that Sanders is making around $4.22 million. James Conner is making about $4.3-ish million. So not much of a difference there salary cap-wise, FYI. Pick one to trade for, JC or MS. JC by a country mile for me. It's not even close. Conner, even though he's getting up there in age, got better last year. I think we all remember that game when he ran all over Dallas. It was funny to me how much people hyped up Conner in 2021. It was fantasy related because he had 15 touchdowns. He was at 3.7 yards per carry. He was a better player in 2022. He was just a bit banged up injury-wise, and he didn't score as much. And again, he might not play a full 17-game season for you, but he had 1,000 yards last year on 200 carries. He still offers some juice. He offers some pass catching. He's got red zone stuff. If I could get James Conner today for a sixth-round pick, I'd do it. In fact, I might send 2 of my 6, or a 5th even, if that evens out. If you want to keep the extra pick, I would do it. Be a 1-year rental. I'm fine. Arizona did draft Trey Benson. But the rest of those backs are like, it's Amari DeMercado, it's Michael Carter, it's DJ Dallas, Tony Jones, journeyman, late-round picks. Benson will become their RB1. I don't think they want to just move on from Conner quite yet. So if he's available, though, I'm in. Now, speaking of running backs, the Ezekiel Elliott jerseys are available. You do have to go to chatsports.com/Zeke15jersey. As of filming, they still feature the 21 jerseys. This will redirect you to where you can go to find the 15, though. I'm a little surprised Snacks not handled this properly yet, but it's probably not official in the database yet. You can get the Zeke 15 jersey, though, at chatsports.com/Zeke15jersey. Another running back trade name, Matt Lombardo, who now writes for Heavy.com and, frankly, does not get very good insight there, suggested the Cowboys could go trade for, Jeff Wilson, the Dolphins running back. And to be clear, there is no insider info here. At least not good. The last Cowboys scoop, the one that sticks out to me was he claimed Devontae Casey had massive interest, and he signed for the vet minimum like months into the process. So, However, this is a logical guess and idea. The Dolphins have running back depth. The Cowboys do not. Wilson's been a good football player. I think this is a good name to consider here. More on this to come, but in general, are the Cowboys going to trade for a running back? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. Now, Wilson's sample size over the course of his career can be described as inconsistent. 41 carries last year behind that in a loaded Dolphins running back room that got better this offseason. But almost 1,000, 860 on 176 carries in 2022 for the Niners and the Dolphins. Remember, he got traded because of Christian McCaffrey. He's been efficient. He offers some speed. He went to North Texas. this is a name I would consider. I don't think Miami's going to look to trade Raheem Mostert. I'm simply not going to get my hopes up for that one, but I would do that one too. Devin Achane's he's not going to get dealt either. He's a second-round pick. He's too good. Or third-round pick, sorry, which I would have loved him in Dallas. That's the type of guy I love. They got two of my favorite backs in back-to-back years, Achane and Jalen Wright. You want big plays? Boom. There you go. That team just loves speed, man. That's three guys. I don't really want Savon Ahmed or Chris Brooks, even though those guys have had some NFL snaps. Jeff Wilson would be the guy I would call about Miami first. Otherwise, wait and see which one of those guys ends up getting cut down in Miami. The pin poll on today's video is this. Will Dallas make CeeDee Lamb the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL? Y for yes, N for no. 77% say yes. I think that is the proper answer on that front there. I think they will. It's just a matter of when and how long they wait and how much they cost themselves in the short term. A $2 super chat from Ecuador man AOG. What about a crossover with you and RJ Ochoa? RJ's my guy. Talk every now and then. Great follow and YouTube Belong to the Boys is also very good stuff over there. I know he's still kind of working through the podcast disaster that SB Nation for some reason chose to do there. But yeah, I certainly would not rule that one out at all. That's one of my favorite guys out here in the Cowboys media sphere, blog, YouTube boys out there, etc. Good point there, Ecuador man. Thank you. If you have not already, before we sign off, no need for a loop today. Hit us up on Instagram as well. At Cowboys Report IG, 846 is our current number. 154 is the number for 1,000. Bless you, producer Chris. I don't think you guys heard that. He's like, achoo. Oh, fuck. That's all I hear in the background. So go follow us on Instagram. And, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos every single day right here on the channel. No live show next Thursday. There will be one, though, next Monday. So stay tuned for that one.